Civil Service Chief Ingrid Yeung acknowledges that there are no plans for layoffs and that some of the vacancies like firemen and teachers still have to be filled. Authorities pledges to foster the development of artificial intelligence in the city. And Firefly Aerospace becomes the second U.S. company to land on the moon with its debut Blue Ghost lander. Good evening. You are watching Cable News. I'm Evelyn Bai. The government is set to slash about 10,000 civil service positions by April 2027. Secretary for the Civil Service Ingrid Yeung confirmed that there are no plans for layoffs, stating that the reduction will be done by restructuring and natural attrition. Xue Run reports.
The government plans to slim down the civil service establishment by 2% in each of the next 2 fiscal years. However, there are currently over 10,000 vacancies in government posts, many of which are actively hiring. Taking to the airwaves, Yeung clarified the distinction between vacancies and job reductions, emphasizing that essential roles like firefighters and school teachers will remain a priority for hiring. She stressed that 2% is just a baseline. Departments with the capacity could cut more positions through restructuring and natural attrition. Referencing outdated positions like typist, she said that the remaining 100 or so employees have transitioned to handling documents and data, including confidential information, since it is not appropriate to outsource such work given the nature of the data and documents. The minister highlighted that many departments are leveraging artificial intelligence technology, including the homegrown large language model Hong Kong Guy, to boost efficiency. Future training programs will be offered to better equip departmental leaders to utilize the technology, she added. Responding to criticism regarding civil servants receiving annual increments despite a pay freeze, Yeung clarified that the pay point system is not an automatic annual promotion, but is linked to evaluations aimed at incentivizing performances. She added that about 40% of civil servants do not receive annual raises, with specific positions limited to 5 increments throughout their tenure. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
Meanwhile, the government has shown its determination to foster AI development in the city by earmarking $1 billion for the establishment of an AI research center in the recent budget proposal. Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry Sun Dong said promoting AI research can help in pursuing high-quality development and extending its application across various sectors, including government services, finance and healthcare. Taking to the airwaves, Sun reviewed plans for enhanced data sharing in the next stage, saying that the government has made lots of efforts to facilitate cross-boundary data flow within the Greater Bay Area, while maintaining an open international environment for data access. Meanwhile, the number of startups in Hong Kong has reached 4,700, 4 times the number before the pandemic. Sun noted that establishing Hong Kong as an international innovation and technology center requires owning leading enterprises, which usually start with startups and cannot be simply purchased. The technology chief will be visiting Spain and Portugal in the coming week, during which he will attend the Mobile World Congress and deliver a keynote speech at the Global System for Mobile Communications Association ministerial program. Further highlighting the government's commitment to foster AI development, Financial Secretary Paul Chan pledged to position AI as a key industry in the city. Writing on his weekly blog, the finance chief said the $1 billion allocated for an AI research center will further accelerate research, results transformation, and applications. He also noted that the Hong Kong Exchange and Clearing and the Hong Kong Investment Corporation will roll out measures to facilitate technology enterprises enlisting and participating in the AI industry. In terms of talent cultivation, Chen said, the government has provided opportunities for over 100 local tech firms and startups to engage with primary and secondary school students, encouraging young people to get involved in the AI sector. In light of global uncertainties, Chen emphasized the need to break out of the traditional growth models and frameworks, fostering a more diverse and high-level economic structure for Hong Kong. A 67-year-old hiker who plunged down a slope in Tseung Kwan O has been rescued after going missing for 2 days. The man sustained arm injuries and was conscious when taken to Tseung Kwan O Hospital. Police were alerted by a villager around 10 a.m. about cries for help near Mang Kung Uk Lower Village public toilet. Firefighters descended using ropes to rescue the man, after locating him about 50 meters down a steep slope. The man reportedly slipped and fell during a hike 2 days ago, with his phone damaged during the fall, leaving him stranded and unable to call for help. U.S. President Donald Trump ordered a new trade investigation targeting imported lumber, potentially heaping more tariffs. The executive order required the Commerce Department to initiate a national security investigation within 270 days into imported timber and products made from lumber, such as paper goods and cabinets, from countries like Canada, Germany, and Brazil. The investigation will assess whether these imports threaten national security. The report also needs to submit recommendations on actions to mitigate such threats, including potential tariffs, export controls, or incentives to increase domestic production. Trump also called for strategies to increase domestic lumber supply within 90 days, aiming to reduce reliance on imports and lower housing and construction costs. Tensions in Gaza once again escalated right after the first phase of the ceasefire expired on Saturday, as Israel has suspended all humanitarian aid into Gaza, citing the Palestinian group Hamas's refusal to accept a U.S.-brokered truce extension. Kunting Yang reports.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office accused Hamas of rejecting a proposed 6-week pause during the overlapping Muslim holy month of Ramadan and Jewish Passover, which would have begun with the release of half the remaining hostages, both alive and deceased, in exchange for renewed aid and talks. A Hamas spokesman called the move cheap blackmail and a coup on the ceasefire agreement, and urged the mediators to get Israel to resume the supply of aid. The collapse of talks leaves the broader ceasefire in limbo. Hamas demands guarantees from American, Qatari, and Egyptian mediators that Phase 2, a permanent truce with Israel's full military withdrawal from Gaza and the release of all hostages and Palestinian prisoners, will proceed as originally negotiated, before extending the initial pause. Meanwhile, Israel insists it will only negotiate further if Hamas accepted the 6-week proposal, reserving the right to resume military operations if talks failed. The initial ceasefire, in place since January 19th, paused 15 months of intense fighting sparked by Hamas's October 2023 attack on Israel. During the first truce, 33 Israeli and 5 Thai hostages were freed in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. Kunting Yang, Cable News.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has received pledge of support from European leaders at a vital summit in London, as his Western allies are scrambling to counterbalance U.S. President Donald Trump's incendiary criticism of Kiev during a tense White House meeting a day earlier. Xu Rin reports.
Many European leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, have given words of support to the Ukrainian people. Meanwhile, some, including NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, urged Zelensky to mend relations with Trump, as otherwise Europe will have to make up the shortfall of about $189 billion if US stops its Ukraine aid completely. However, Zelensky received staunch support from British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, signing an agreement to accelerate $2.8 billion worth of loans to Ukraine a day before. Zelensky is also set to meet with King Charles. As these kinds of visits are only organized on the request of the UK government, it can be interpreted as a strong diplomatic show of force for Zelensky. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
In a landmark moment for space exploration, American private aerospace firm Firefly Aerospace Blue Ghost lander successfully touched down on the moon's surface early Sunday morning Eastern Time. Quentin Yang shares more.
Blue Ghost's successful landing on the moon marks the first ever by a private company and the beginning of a mission under NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services program. Confirmation of touchdown came from Firefly's mission control in Texas. The ground team erupted in celebration as the craft sent back its first post-landing image, revealing the moon's rugged terrain. Named after a rare species of fireflies, Blue Ghost launched from Florida in January aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. It carried 10 NASA instruments to study solar wind interactions, map surface lunar resources, and test how moon dust clings to materials, all key data for future crewed missions. 2 other companies' landers are hot on its heels, with the next one targeting a landing later this week. Previously, 2 other CLPS contractors failed the mission, one due to a fuel leak and the other toppling upon landing. The flurry comes as NASA strives to ignite a lunar economy and send astronauts back on the moon. Quentin Ya, Cable News.
The 2-day triathlon test event for the forthcoming national games successfully concluded at the Central Harbourfront. The host team from Hong Kong secured 3rd place overall, while the Shandong team clinched the championship title. Xiu Rin wraps up the city's first mixed relay triathlon events.
The race kicked off in Wan Chai with a 300-meter swim in Victoria Harbour. Cycling in loops around Golden Bohemia Square and Central Pier for 8 kilometers, Team Hong Kong's Kate Wright finished in 2nd place out of 16 teams from Hong Kong, Macau and the mainland. Benefiting from home turf, SAR's Oscar Coggins surged to 1st place as he further widened the lead in the cycling leg. With a 16-second lead, Coggins completed the 1.7-kilometer run ahead of Team Liaoning and Shandong. Up next was the other Wright sister Tallulah, but she was overtaken by women's race gold medalist Shandong's Yang Yifan. Nick Yip took on the anchor leg but faced a minor setback as he missed his spot in the transition area, slipping to 3rd place. Team Shandong clinched the top spot by crossing the finish line first, followed by Team Liaoning. Team Hong Kong came 3rd, clocking a time of 1 hour 37 minutes and 50 seconds. Coggins hailed the race as a positive indicator for triathlon development in Hong Kong and a valuable preparation for the forthcoming national games.
The national games in November, it's going to be bigger, everything is going to be heightened, there's going to be more, more people, more pressure, more everything. So today is a smaller scale of what's to come, but after today I have a lot of confidence in the organization.
Meanwhile, several athletes took wrong turns during the race and were redirected by on-site staff members. Head of the National Games Coordination Office, Yeung Tak-keung, confirmed plans to review the course, while affirming that the event's overall execution went on smoothly. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy, humid and foggy in the morning and at night. Rather warm with sunny intervals during the day. The maximum temperature will be around 26 degrees. A few showers are expected tomorrow night. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our news tonight. I'm Evelyn Bai. Thanks for watching and good night.